Have you ever watched one parent stay steady while a child is melting down, and another parent escalate almost immediately? The contrast is striking. Psychology suggests the difference is not luck or easier children. It is often the way the adult responds in the first few seconds, when the nervous system of the entire room starts to shift. Emotionally intelligent parents do not produce perfect children. They respond differently, and that changes what children learn about feelings, limits, and repair. Over time, those small responses shape whether a child becomes defensive, cooperative, or able to recover after stress. That is why emotionally intelligent parenting psychology matters so much. In parenting, emotional intelligence means noticing emotions accurately, managing your own reactions, and choosing responses that help a child learn instead of simply react. It is not about being permissive. It is about guiding a child while keeping the emotional environment stable enough for the child's brain to listen. Every repeated interaction teaches something. Children learn what emotions mean, whether they are safe to express, and whether adults will respond with support or escalation. In that sense, parenting is not just behavior management. It is a daily lesson in nervous system regulation, trust, and social learning. The first habit is simple to say, but hard to practice. Emotionally intelligent parents validate feelings before solving problems. Before advice, before consequences, before logic, they start by showing the child that the feeling itself was noticed. That single step changes the tone of the entire conversation. Validation does not mean agreeing with every thought a child has. It means naming the emotional reality behind the words. A sentence like, "That sounds really painful," can lower defensiveness because the child no longer has to fight to be understood. Once the feeling is recognized, guidance becomes easier to hear. Imagine a child saying, "No one wants to play with me." A quick fix might be, "That is not true," or "You will make new friends." But a validating response sounds more like, "That sounds upsetting. I can see why you feel left out." The goal is not to erase the pain. It is to meet it first. Psychologically, this works because feeling understood reduces threat. When a child does not have to defend the feeling, the brain has more room for reasoning and problem solving. Validation does not solve the problem by itself. It creates the emotional conditions in which solving becomes possible, and that is a crucial difference. The second habit is to stay calm during big emotions. Children are not born with fully developed regulation skills, so they often borrow that skill from the adults nearby. In other words, the parent's nervous system becomes part of the child's environment. That is why tone, posture, and pacing matter. A calm voice can slow a situation down. A tense voice can speed it up. This is co-regulation in action. The adult helps organize the child's emotional state until the child can do more of that work independently. When adults yell during emotional moments, children can learn that intensity is the default response to stress. They may copy the pattern, or they may become more withdrawn and less willing to share feelings. Either way, the lesson is the same. Emotions are overwhelming, and regulation feels unsafe. Calm does not mean ignoring the behavior. It means remaining the stable person in the room. During crying, defiance, or a tantrum, emotionally intelligent parents lower the temperature without surrendering the boundary. Their calm is not passivity. It is an active, stabilizing response under pressure. The third habit is connection before correction. Instead of going straight to discipline, emotionally intelligent parents first rebuild a sense of safety and engagement. Because a child who feels disconnected is usually not ready to absorb a lesson, no matter how reasonable it sounds. Immediate correction often backfires when a child is already dysregulated. The child hears the limit, but not the meaning. Connection changes that. A brief moment of warmth, eye contact, or physical closeness can lower resistance and open a small window where cooperation becomes possible. For example, a parent might say, "I know you are disappointed that screen time is over. I am still not changing the rule, but I am here." That message combines empathy with limits. It tells the child that the relationship is secure, even when the answer is no. Connection is not permissiveness. It does not remove consequences, and it does not excuse harmful behavior. It simply makes teaching more effective, because a child learns best when the emotional alarm is no longer drowning out the message. In practice, that often means the real correction happens after the child feels seen. The fourth habit is modeling. Children do not only listen to what parents say, they absorb what parents repeatedly do. If adults want respectful speech, patience, and emotional control, those qualities have to be visible in the home, especially when the adult is under pressure. A parent can ask for empathy all day, but if the adult speaks harshly, that lesson loses force. Children notice inconsistency quickly. They learn from how disagreements are handled, how apologies sound, and whether frustration is expressed with self-control or with blame. Psychology has a name for this: imitation. Children copy patterns through repetition, often without consciously deciding to. Over time, those small observations become habits of their own. That is why emotional modeling matters so much. The child is not just hearing values, the child is watching them. The fifth habit may be the most powerful. Emotionally intelligent parents ask a different question after a mistake. Not, "How do I stop this?" but "What skill is missing here?" That shift turns the problem from a battle of willpower into a chance to teach. A tantrum can reveal a missing regulation skill. Sibling conflict can reveal a missing communication skill. Breaking a promise can reveal a missing planning skill. When mistakes are treated as data, parenting becomes less about punishment and more about building the abilities a child still needs. That approach changes daily life. Instead of seeing every outburst as defiance, the parent looks for the underlying gap: frustration tolerance, language for feelings, or the ability to wait. The behavior still needs boundaries, but the response becomes more precise and often more effective. Over time, children who are guided this way often develop more confidence and resilience. They learn that emotions can be handled, relationships can be repaired, and mistakes do not erase belonging. That emotional security makes cooperation easier because the child is not spending all their energy on fear. So the 5 habits are not separate tricks. They work together as one system. Validate, stay calm, connect, model, and teach through mistakes. Emotionally intelligent parenting is not perfection. It is consistency. Every interaction teaches something, even the small ones that are easy to miss. If this breakdown was useful, subscribe to ParentLab for more science-backed parenting insights every week. And in the comments, share which habit feels hardest to apply in real life. Next, the channel will break down a simple 3-step method for emotion coaching that parents can use at home.